Hello again. My name is Badger, or if you want to call me Toad, that's also good. What's up? This is a little celebration speed paint for my channel anniversary. My channel anniversary is August 31st. Technically, August 31st, 2015 was when I created my channel and I uploaded my first video. So this video will be coming out on the 31st, but right now I'm recording this on the 12th. So I just wanted to do a little bit of an unscripted video, just talking about my channel in general and talking about my experience with art, because I feel like people are always interested in like how artists go about their process. You know what I mean? So this will be a little bit unscripted, so I'm sorry. I'll do my best to leave out ums and uhs, but I will do my best. So, damn it, I already did one. So, I will talk about the speed paint a little bit. So, this is a redraw of my first speed draw, my first video ever that I posted on YouTube. The original video was traditionally drawn. It was drawn with a pencil for the sketch, and then I lined it in a thin, like a fine-tipped Sharpie. Don't do that. Use a Micron, or, it was lined in a Sharpie. And then I erased the line work, and then I colored it with off-brand, like, they might have been Rosart colored pencils, honestly. I think I still have them. I'm, like, looking over. Yeah, that looks like them. I don't know what brand they are. They weren't very good, but I just have a lot of colored pencils. So the original was traditional, so I decided to do the new one digital just because I wanted to show my full capabilities, you know what I mean? So I tried to go all out with like my shading and stuff. You'll notice that the finished piece will look different than what is shown in the speed paint because I didn't record myself going back and fixing the shading, because I finished and then I realized the shading looked like absolute dookie and I could not keep it. I was like, I gotta change it. I got a new laptop a couple days ago, so all of my downloaded stuff on Clip Studio was gone. I had to go back onto my account and re-download everything. So I didn't have this beautiful watercolor brush that I use for my shading. I love this watercolor brush, man. I still don't think I found the right one. So, it looks fine, I guess. So you'll notice that it's different. But, the character's here. This is one of my oldest OCs. It was a Warrior Cats OC, and her name was Badger Paw. She grew up to become Badger Strike, the warrior. And this was her mother, Pondberry, and Pondberry died. I'm guessing you might be wondering, oh no, how did Pondberry die? And I will tell you, I do not know. She died from dead mom disease. She was a plot device. She needed to die, apparently. I don't know. There was no story. Honestly, there was no story. I just thought, I want to draw a sad cat. And my brain said, what if her mom died? And I said, sure. So Badger Paw's mom dies. Rip Pondberry. Deepest condolences. I say that even though I killed her. So Pondberry's dead. The only story I had was the description of the old one, the traditional drawn one, which basically just said Badger Paw's mom died in a clearing, like in the clearing of their camp. They lived in WindClan, by the way. And I just realized that all the times I visualized Badger Paw's story, it was taking place in ThunderClan camp. And that's probably why the background of this drawing, the one that I'm drawing right now, has trees in it, even though it's supposed to take... You know what? I'm letting it go. I'm an idiot. That's the moral of the story. Anyway, so I changed Badger Paw's design a lot. So I'll just put the old one on screen, the one from the traditional speed paint. I'll put that on screen so you can see what she used to look like. What did she used to look like? She used to look ugly. Ugly. I mean, that was just kind of my, quote, art style at the time. I just couldn't draw very well. So she just looked ugly. So I changed a lot of her design. Now she looks a lot more like youthful, because she's supposed to be like an apprentice. She's She's newly apprenticed, you know, she's probably like in human years, like 12 or 13, right? So I think she looks a lot cuter, you know, and I adjusted her markings too, because I want to make her a little bit more badger looking for her namesake and everything, because she was named after a badger, obviously. So, I reference her off an American badger, not a European badger, because I like American badgers better. So, fight me, Europeans. You guys have the shittier badgers. Anyway, I made her a lot fluffier. I love drawing fur tufts. Like, the fur tufts that I put on her back, they're just so satisfying, you know? They're like, woo, you know? And I made her anime bangs a lot bigger, but also make a little bit more sense. Have a little bit more form, you know? And I adjusted Pondberry's face so she looked a little bit different, so we're not getting like that same face thing. She has a much longer muzzle. She has a thinner nose. She has thinner eyebrows. I'm guessing that Badgerpaw takes a lot more of her features from her father. Like, she has her father's thicker eyebrows. But I think she probably has her mom's longer fur, because Poundberry has like the long fur around her chest and everything. So I think she takes after her mom in that way, because I think her dad is probably pretty short-furred. I remember her dad being named Tiger Fang. Yeah, I think that's right. But honestly, I really don't like that. I feel like that doesn't fit his personality. So I'd probably rename him like... I'm making this up on the spot. Dear Heart. Yeah, Dear Heart. Her dad's name is Dear Heart now. Anyway, I do remember that so everyone in her story was based off of my family members. So I was Badgerpaw, obviously, or Badgerstrike. My mom was Pondberry. In most of the later renditions of the story, she doesn't die. So, sorry to my mom for making you die on the first version. I don't know why. But you kept coming back as a ghost. So, sorry, Mom, but you did come back as a ghost to give me advice. So you were still part of the story. Anyway, so then her dad, Tiger Fang, now renamed Deerheart, was my dad. And then she had her brother, like my brother, her brother's name was Shadow Tuft. And he was a warrior until one day Badgerpaw was cornered by a fox, and Shadow Tuft fought off the fox. Or he was Shadowpaw at the time, because they're from the same litter. Shadowpaw fought off the fox, but then the fox grabbed his leg and like ripped it off. And there was a lot of gore, you know. It's just so dumb talking about it out loud. So then he was made to become a medicine cat because, I don't know, ableism, I guess. So he was a medicine cat. He was named Shadow Tuft. And I just remember he was a gray cat, and he had like a mask marking over his eyes, and he had green eyes. So I thought that was cool. And then my older sister was the medicine cat, who then trained Shadow Tuft, I guess. I don't know. I didn't think much of this through. But her name was Honeydew. Like the melon. Yeah, Honeydew. I was actually talking about my sister about this recently. A couple months ago, I was just talking about like my warrior cats stuff, because I'd never talked about it before. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, you gave everyone in our family a name?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was telling her all of them, and she was like, "What was mine?" I was like, "It's Honeydew." She goes, "Like the melon?" And I said, "Yeah, it sounded cute, like honey on a leaf, like dew." I didn't think about that it was also a melon. I didn't think about that until later. So, sorry. But not sorry. It's a very cute name. Anyway, so that's my little story for this speed paint, and I'll just let that play out. But, in other things, I've been doing map parts for a long time. I started my channel in 2015, and then for 2015, the entirety of 2015, I only did speed draws and speed paints. And then in 2016, I did my first map part and my first animation ever. And it was called Rise Adventure. I think it was part 10 for Danger Wolf 101. Yeah. I still talk to Danger. I follow them on Twitter. So, Danger, if you listen to this, thank you so much, so much for giving me that first map part. I'm sorry that it looks like shit. Maybe one day I'll redo it, but thank you, because if you hadn't done that, if you hadn't taken that chance and given me a chance, I would not be where I am today. So thank you so much, because there was a lot of times I signed up for maps and I never got a part. That's something else they don't tell you when they talk about maps. Sometimes you just aren't accepted, and it makes you feel really sad. So if there's anyone out there who's like a beginner artist and they're feeling really sad because they're not getting accepted into maps, just keep asking. Don't keep asking on the same one. Don't annoy them. But just like keep asking different maps, you know? Just keep going. You will get in one, I promise. There's always beginner maps out there for any beginner artists. So you don't need to have like a specific level of artistic skill. Those are the ones I really recommend. So that was my first map part. It was a Venti. That's when I started moving away from Warriors content. Because I did a lot of original character content, but that's when I really moved away from Warriors. And I started working on a series called Void of Stars. And it originally started out as Badger Paw's story. It was a Warriors fanfiction. But then I just took the name and I created an entirely new story called Void of Stars. It involved three main characters, Venti, Follow, and Kogain. And it went through like 40 different versions of the story. So anytime I try to explain it to someone, like a friend, I literally can't. Like, you need to just look inside my brain, because it is like a spider web of confusion. Because it was rewritten so many times. Because the main character changed from Follow in the beginning to Venti, then back to Follow, and then back to Venti, and then a completely different set of characters, and then I stopped making it. Because it got too confusing. That's what happens. I start a story, and then I rewrite it so many times that I confuse myself, and then I give up. Don't do that. So that was Void of Stars. Maybe one day I'll make a video talking about it and trying to explain it a little bit. I don't know, would you guys be interested in that? So then after Void of Stars was Flutter. Flutter, my baby, my Flutter. God. I loved this story. This story was my baby. I drew it all the time. Literally all of the characters were comfort characters, but my comfortest character, you know what I mean, was Ryan. Ryan Lovegate, the hummingbird Perryton, the spatula-tailed hummingbird Perryton. I love him. I drew him recently for a map part that I'm redoing. And it brought me so much joy. So that one involved Ryan, along with his best friend Time. They are exiled from their herd. Time is also a Perryton. You guys are probably, I made so many map parts for this freaking story. God, more than I did a Void of Stars, I think. So Ryan and Time get exiled from their herd because Ryan lets in a dragon and it burns down their camp. This is so funny. So they get exiled and they go and they meet this tomcat named Basil. Everyone knows Basil. Anytime I bring up Basil, like 3 people have to tell me that they love him, and it makes me so happy. I'm so glad he was like a fan favorite. So then there was Basil, and Basil, Ryan, and Time go out on an adventure, so they get exiled, right, from their herd, and Ryan has to go out and he has to find the rest of his kind, the hummingbird Perryton, who have disappeared for the past 100 years, or I don't know how long. And so he has to go out into the desert, they think they're in the desert, to find them and bring them back, and that will like redeem his honor or whatever. So total Zuko vibes, right? So that was my second story. I still love Flutter, but it is probably permanently not being worked on just because it's not a great story. I think like there's a lot of things that could be fixed and altered and changed and stuff. So but it is wonderful to think about it again. Very, very nostalgic. And then COVID-19 happened, and I created a new story. Literally March 13th. I have it written down because I have quarantine sketchbooks. Because I drew all the time, 24/7 during quarantine. Here we go. Here we go. I'm going to read out from it. Day 1 of quarantine. This is March 13th, 2020. I just wrote idea, : kid has powers, dresses up as kinda a plague doctor, fights disease monsters, and helps people and keeps people safe from the monsters. That's literally the entire idea for Harvesters. That's where it came from. And then I have a shitty drawing of a plague doctor. And that's where it began, because that was good enough for me that I continued drawing him. Yep. I'm looking at it right now, and wowee, I was not good at drawing. So that was day 1 of quarantine, and I drew, and I eventually gave him a name. Ollivander Lee Crowley. And I just drew him, and I have drawn him basically every single day for over 500 days. Yeah. Quarantine ended for me. If I look here, I think I had 500 days. No, 400. I think it was 400. Flipping through my current sketchbook right now. Let's see. When did my quarantine end? Because I did a lot of journaling over quarantine. And just in the past 2 years. A lot of journaling. Last day of quarantine, 442 days. It ended for me January, February, March, April, January, February, March, April, May 31st, 2021. But seeing how things are going, I might be going back into quarantine, so we'll see. Yeah, so I basically just drew him every day, and that's where Harvesters came from. And Harvesters is like my baby now. I love Harvesters, and I think it's probably my best story, just because I actually know what I'm doing. Not very much, but just a little bit. I know a little bit what I'm doing. Like, I have the story planned out, I have the ending planned out, I have most of the shit in between, and I feel like the story is just very coherent, you know? So, that's what I'm currently working on. I stopped the comic for a bit just because I wasn't liking where it was going, just art-wise and story-wise, and I want to just improve my comic-making skills before I keep going with it. But I will be releasing more Harvesters content just on the channel and stuff, and posting it online of just like extra content, like little PMVs here and there, and like the little animation practices that I've uploaded. So I'm going to do more of that. So 6 years. Gosh, honestly, I never know what to say, because it's so much time. Like, I've put so much time into just making videos and stuff. Like, it was just a very big part of growing up, you know? Yeah. I really loved having, I've really loved having this channel. So thank you for the people who have stuck around. I don't always say it, but it means a lot. I always have trouble, coming off as sincere, because I feel like people always think I'm being sarcastic, or that I don't want to just have like copy paste thank yous, you know? So I try to make it original, but honestly, just thank you. Thank you for sticking around, and I hope it's been as fun for you as it has been for me. It's been some of the best parts of my life. So I will let you all go now. Enjoy the finished piece, and put whatever you want in the comments. I read through all of my comments. So, thank you. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.